Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a really important topic, and that is, how does someone enable their own manipulation? How do you enable a narcissist? How do you enable a psychopath? How do you keep yourself stuck? How do you keep yourself living unaware? How do you stop keeping yourself from living your truth, your I am, from your strength point, coming from a place of strength rather than a place of weakness? We don't realize it, but the subtle manipulation of people who are cluster B or antisocial, you have to realize that they utilize others as an extension of themselves to get what they want. So if this can involve you denying yourself, denying your needs, living in a state of fear, living under their control, not being empowered for yourself, not having a sense of industry, what you might, talk about, autonomy and industriousness are really some of the initial childhood psychological development stages that people go through, which becomes, and then, trust of self, and then, self-esteem, and the ability to, relate to others from that perspective versus one that's weakened, damaged, broken, taught to untrust, all those different scenarios. The narcissist or psychopath will try to peg that manipulation into place to help them basically get where they want to go themselves. But oftentimes it involves a lot of, issues that cause problems for other people, including enabling or living, unaware, unconscious, or enabling their manipulation, allowing it to continue, becoming an active participant, essentially, in keeping yourself down, stuck, not living to your potential, not coming from your strength. And it's not like you have to be like Superman, Superwoman, and all of a sudden you're in this whole vast different, sense of self, but it's to come out from the other side of understanding that if you won't catch the red flags, in other words, if you find yourself trying to be consistent with problems of the past. In other words, the same ways that they talk to you, the same ways that you're being put down, and remaining in that stuck space. In other words, what we call tolerance. People develop a sense of numbness or tolerance or feeling ineffective or unempowered to call something out, to stand up on their own 2 feet, to be able to check out their own clear thinking and their own needs. Oftentimes is a conflict to them getting their way. It's a direct, basically, fight for airspace. It's a fight for emotional airspace. It's kind of like they won't show up to the ring. They won't show up to the table. They won't show up to the conversation in the way that they need to be authentically, humbly, with, they lack empathy. They just are they come across as maybe fooling, but they are disinterested in your well-being. I mean, ultimately, which is very hard to grasp, especially if they've maybe been in a relationship with you for some time. So if you enable the manipulation, basically, silence is acceptance. Silence is acceptance. So if you don't do anything, if you don't speak up, at least internally to yourself first, and you allow the same treatment day in, day out, because you don't, you just sort of isolate away. When you're in that isolation stage, you're still in the I am weak stage. I am enabling the manipulation. I am allowing it to continue. You don't realize that it's sort of, you're not having really enough compassion and empathy, looking in for yourself as the number one, what's important here, because people have usually then been misled to feel that they are unimportant, irrelevant, flawed, shameful, not worth it. You're a basket case. You're a goner. They throw in the towel. I don't have time for you, or whatever sort of deception that they might have implicated or you might have experienced with them, so they could continue to take little bit by little bit, just like little bites from an apple, bite, 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 until they have everything off of you that they have needed. And then they just sort of throw you away, and you're left with what is feeling like an empty core, but it's actually a core filled with seeds for a fruitful and fulfilling life. Once you can get to that core and embrace it and see it in the positive. But people, if they have been manipulated or deceived or been under constant criticism, blame and projection, gaslighting and brainwashing, then they usually have come to a point where they feel that they are the cause of the problem. This person is angry because of me. They are disappointed all the time because of me. They are yelling all the time because of me. They're living a double life because of me. They pathologically lie because they end up taking responsibility for all their anger. They end up taking it on like their own, like they add their own, musculature, their own, fat suit, if you will. They're taking on the pain of this other person and wearing it around and wondering why it's so painful, uncomfortable. They can't breathe, they can't move, they don't know which direction, because they're taking on all this person's complexities, their inadequacies, their shortcomings, their pathologies, meaning if it's all about them, then they really need people as a stepping stool to step on, to get wherever it is that they want to go. What ladder are they climbing? What stone are they stepping on? Usually people end up becoming an end to a means. And then what's really sad is when they try to project it and then make you feel that you are the bad guy when you are just not even being seen. They have an inability to have empathy. So it's just their shortcoming, even though it's intangible. It's a social psychology concept, and it involves a lot of implication for people who are in the relationships with them, not necessarily that person. So the problem with these disorders is that they are a problem for other people, but not for the person themselves. And depending on the severity, if you're getting into the antisocial, it becomes really into a repertoire where they don't really experience bonding, connection, love, warmth towards others. It's just not part of their repertoire, but they will mimic. So, but getting back to the enabling, it's to realize when you are getting too close, you're staying in what you might consider an enmeshed state. You don't have your own boundaries. You don't have your own I am. You don't have your own positive sense of self-regard outside of how you are labeled or exist as a result of this relationship. So a lot of people end up defining too much of themselves by the dictates of this person and what they have put them through. I mean, this has very large and vast sweeping implications for other people. Once again, the narcissist usually is not a problem. They'll usually devalue and discard. They'll cut you down, and then discard you, and then they'll be coming back for more when their other sources dry out. So it's basically, you have to break this cycle. You have to realize it's because you have grown, because you do have a positive sense of self. You have to dust yourself off and allow that to shine and realize that you are trustworthy. You need to define yourself in the positive. I am okay. I am affectionate. I am warm. I am compassionate. I am considerate. I am loving. I am a good cook. I am a great gardener. I am a great computer programmer. I am a great hunter. I am a great craftsman. I am a great home, keeper, or, great at keeping a household together. I mean, everybody has some strengths. Have you developed and lived from that space of your sense of self, or have you given over to the slumped overview of you can't make it, you are ... and all that has been negative reflected back to you, and that colorless, decaying as if you have a lifeless way about you, which could not be further from the truth. But people get fearful and then they enable other people. They allow the manipulation to continue. They almost ask for it. They feel that they have no other options, no other choice. Maybe you then have to evaluate that and be rigorously honest with yourself and to say, why am I then feeling that I need to hang myself under the lampshade or dull I am in what my capabilities of and spread my wings, so to speak, is because I am dependent on this person emotionally. Is too much of who I am caught up on their feedback. True self-esteem can function autonomously. It doesn't need somebody to reflect back, something positive about you. You need to own this positive about yourself, meaning you own it without needing others to reflect back. You have to have and know that about yourself and know that no one can take that away. That is a state that you need to work towards. Realize that is your true, authentic self. You are that strong. You are, you are good enough. You are good looking enough. You're tall enough. You're short enough. Your feet are okay. Your hands are okay. Your shoulders, whatever it is okay. So don't worry about it. And begin to then be able to take action from that positive part of yourself. So you're breaking out of the mold, out of the limitations of that shell that a narcissist will have you living under, because they'll create sort of a shell that you will eventually want to break out of. And that's really what that journey is all about. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. And I hope that these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and for goodness sake, please donate for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Peace in, peace out, peace be with you, and have a beautiful day.